got soil on my hat, Jen. How did I do that? Someone walked into it. Oh, bits of grass. Should we do some creative dance, Jen? This is when Jen and I got married. This is how we came in. Well, we came in like the monkeys, and then we did Saturday Night Fever. My grandma was horrified by the whole.
No waltz, darling.
There was no waltz. Yeah, it was. You could hear her tutting and disapproving. Never mind. At least she came to the wedding. My nan didn't come because we didn't get married in a church.
Yeah.
I don't hold a grudge.
Good, because she died.
I know. I didn't hold it anyway. Hello everybody. How are you? Welcome to our little room of fun.
What have we got in today? Let's move to the...
Oh, you do that bit if you can, Jen. And I will take this time to try and drum up some support for two awesome events this weekend. So on Saturday at 9:30 we have Power, the ultimate Rise class, followed by Flex at 10:30, which is the ultimate, most popular Rise class. But we are going to do this as superheroes in recognition, gratitude and support of all the key workers and NHS staff and medical staff across the whole world really, who are being heroes and putting themselves in harm's way, whilst we are hiding away in our lounge and our yoga studio nice and safe. But what we can do is dress as superheroes ourselves and ask everybody who attends the class to either dress as a superhero or dress as something else.
Even if it's just a tea towel around the neck.
That's fine. Just an effort. But the main thing is to pay your £5 for the class, because that goes to Sheffield Children's Hospital COVID-19 appeal.
Yeah.
We're going to have loads of fun. I have no idea how a man who sweats pretty easily anyway is going to deal with a polyester foam muscle clad
badly,
outfit.
I think.
And I might even green up. And then on Sunday we have a gut health workshop seminar thing, which did sell out because it was only £5. Again, it was just for a donation because we just want to get this information out there about gut health and how amazing it is for your immunity. I have sent an email to about 6,000 people today. It's one of my regular every 3 month spams. Actually, what tends to happen is I send them in bouts, so you probably get another one tomorrow about something else, and then I won't send you anything again for 3 months. But please don't unsubscribe. It's really important stuff, and it comes from my heart. Our hearts. So we've got that gut health thing on Sunday with Rachel Tate. She has an amazing story about her own recovery from pretty much being able to do nothing, losing a job, not able to look after her kids, eventually realising that the problem was coming from her gut, solving it, never feeling better now, and hence stopped being a teacher, became a nutritionist so that she could make her message. And we're really honoured. She's a Sheffield lady, so she's going to be sharing that with us on Sunday. I think it's 10 till 11:30, but again, you can book in however you like, so it'd be great. So that's £10 for the weekend, 2 incredible events, all money going to
something to fill a diary with.
Yeah, you can go, ooh, I've got that gut health thing today. And then before you know it, you'll be drinking sculling kombucha, having kimchi, sauerkraut. We have all this stuff at our house, and I tell you what, when you pop the kimchi, whoo, the kids don't half complain.
One of the plus sides to not sort of teaching with everybody is I have been loading up on the garlic because there's nobody to breathe on. So
I can never taste it, not taste it, but smell
I
it. There's always like, oh, I can't have garlic because I've clocked down that. Doesn't matter if you smell like garlic. Didn't bother the French. Woohoo! How are we doing, wife? We've got 3 minutes, 45 seconds.
3 minutes.
I'm glad there are actually some viewers, otherwise we've just chatted on for 6 minutes to ourselves.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you have got a brick or strap type thing around the house, now's the time to bolt off and get it. Ooh, I've got an insect bite. Scratchy.
And exactly
Now
the
I've
same
told him
place
that they're there, he's going to be itching them, isn't he?
Do you know what else
So,
I found?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter said, what's that on the back of your leg, Dad? A varicose vein, Jen. And we had all our DNAs tested and our gut health tested. And on the DNA stuff, it says what things you are more likely to get. And fortunately, I was not likely to get any of the dread stuff. But the one thing it said I was more prone to was varicose veins. So I thought I'll take that. It's not so bad, especially on the back of the ankle there. Don't know if you can get one across your forehead, but that would.
I have a good vein when I'm doing power down my forehead. But yes, if you've got a block or strap or something along those lines, could be a rolled up tea towel or a book or cushion, anything really.
No one's in our virtual studio yet. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or anything like that, get back onto rise.co.uk online/online and click on the virtual studio. Then I will admit you to make sure that you're not going to do something that we know who you are, because we have had a bit of Zoom, what's it called?
Zoom bombing.
Zoom bombing. We've had some rude Zoom bombing, which was interesting. They played rude videos to Rosie throughout the whole of her class.
While she was trying to teach.
And she just, I could see, because I was watching Rosie through the monitor, and I could see her like thinking, why is that going on? And then, right at the end of the class, she's going, why did you play pornography for the whole class? And I'm like, that was not me. So that was a Zoom bombing right there. 1 minute 53 seconds.
Super dupes.
Super dupes. Anything else we've got to tell people?
Been a bit colder today.
New class coming at some point.
At some point, let's keep that.
Okay.
Keep that on the down low.
Okay. All I'll say is. Glad I didn't hit you then, because I would have run away with that, would I? Would be like, why did you hit Jen in the face on camera? Never do it on camera.
No, they did say that those fantastic people who were going to recover people who have died from COVID-19 outside of the hospitals, there's a special team of people going around, and one of the first things they do is check the scene for signs of domestic abuse. So yeah, it's pretty tough being locked up with your other half. So
I would never, you would batter me, Jen, there's no way, I'm the one who would be reporting.
Anyway, enough of our inane banter. Shall we come down onto our mats? We're nearly there. What are we on?
I love doing yoga with you, wife.
Yeah, this is the only time that Chris and I really get to practice.
I'm from here, because I get to see your shoulders and stuff, and they're just awesome. So I've been with Jen for like 20 odd years, and only in the last couple of years
you see my shoulders.
have I seen her shoulders looking quite so Olympic.
We've had three
I mean, they've always been good shoulders.
Seen my shoulders.
They've always been good shoulders.
Sorry for our chat, it's really bad. Should we get Rosie back?
Someone come into our live room.
Oh, I'm going to take the earpiece out. Alrighty, folks. So we're going to start in our wide leg child's pose. Sometimes we start on the front, sometimes we start on our backs, but for chill 6, we're going to start on our front. So if you're feeling quite flexible through the back, you can have the legs together. I find it a bit easier on the old hips to have the knees out wide. So giving yourself a bit of space to fold down into. So allowing the chest to melt down towards the floor a little bit. Forehead's resting. And you can rest the forehead on your blankets, on your bricks if you like. That can be quite soothing. And the other thing is, if you find you've got quite a big gap between your heels and your bottom, you can always press your hips down onto that blanket or cushion or whatever from there, and then float the forehead down. So you can use the brick in that way as well. So just starting off our session this evening with 5 deep steady breaths. So whatever's going on at the moment in and around your practice space, just see if you can switch off and take a little time for yourself. Letting the forehead rest down, maybe stretching the arms out in front. You might want to, with it being a chill class, take the arms behind you. Just allowing the shoulders to be completely rested and holding no tension whatsoever. Or alternatively, you might want to bring the hands into prayer around the back of the neck. Any of these variations. Just enjoy breathing into the back body, creating a bit of space. As you breathe in, as you release that breath, allow your body weight to move down towards your mat. So a really nice passive stretch. Just allowing gravity to assist us here. Just one more breath. And as you release your breath, allow your hands to return to the mat if they're not already there, pressing your way into an all fours position. So drawing the knees back underneath the hips, hands walk back underneath the shoulders. You can have the tops of the feet down, or you can have the toes tucked, it's entirely up to you. Just find a little bit of a squeeze through the belly, release the shoulders away down the back from the ears, and make sure you spread out the fingers. So you're just going to roll the weight back into the heels of the hands a little bit, so lifting up the fingers at the front, and I want you to roll forwards, and I want you to see if you can lift the heels of the hands, that is, not the feet, off the mat as well. So we're just going to roll backwards and forwards through the hands, lifting the heels up if you can. So that sensation where you're pressing down through the knuckles, that's what you want to try and aim for in a down dog or in tabletop. So you're not pressing down through the heels of the hands. Rolling forwards, finding that nice connection to the floor where the fingers are spread, so you've got lots of space and lots of surface area in contact with the mat. So from here, think about the spine. We're going to find space through the spine now as we ripple and roll. We're going to be doing lots of rippling and rolling through this session. So squeeze in the belly, inhale, lift the sit bones up, drop the belly down, slowly start to breathe in. Maybe close the eyes for this one. Feel that stomach stretch, feel the abs stretch out. And then exhale, tucking the pelvis. Like you've got a tail that you're sending between the legs, rounding through the spine, letting the chin meet the chest. And just taking another 3 in your own time. So have a little play around with your cat and cow. You can make it a little bit bigger if you want by dropping the bottom down towards the heels on the exhale. So once you've rounded through the spine, and then you can inhale, scoot forwards, keeping the elbows squeezed in. Another option will be to reverse the breath, so exhaling into your cow pose and then inhaling, squeezing the buttocks and rounding through the spine. So just flipping the breath and see if that changes things for you. One more flow wherever you are. So our intention through chill here is take a nice slow flow, spending lots of time in each position. Alright, well done. Let's see if we can work into down dog. If down dog doesn't work for you, stay in table, that's cool. We're going to try and tuck our toes. You might even just want to lift the knees off a slight bit off the mat if down dog's not your thing. Well, you suffer a little bit and this feels like too far of a pose for you. We're not going to stay here particularly a long time for your down dog, so don't worry about the level of challenge. Hopefully you might be able to find this lovely upside down V shape. Releasing the shoulders down the back, you can pedal out the legs, lifting one heel then the other. Letting the gaze travel towards the back of the mat, so the back of your neck stays nice and long. You can have a big swing round through the hips. That feels nice, be quite tight in the hips. As I said, I'm not going to stay here too long, so come back through centre. Have a look towards the front edge of your mat, and then little tiptoes, little creep forwards. Bend the knees loads if you need to, really doesn't matter. So taking this session at your own pace. Inhale, find a halfway lift and a flat back. Shoulders releasing away towards the back edge of your mat, so nice and flat. Exhale, soften the knees, release down, and just enjoy a really bendy forward fold. So got lots of knee bend in there. Let the head hang down. You can catch the elbows in the opposite hand. You can have a little swing round. I always like to play around with the weight a little bit, taking the weight forwards into the toes, into the heels. It's going to test your balance a little bit, but that's okay. Maybe over to the left and the right. Just working out where my centre of gravity lies today. Probably around my belly actually, the amount of Easter eggs that I've eaten. Rocking backwards and forwards. Stretching out the hamstrings and the lower back. Letting the blood flow with ease to the upper parts of the body. And then releasing the arms so they dangle down. We're going to bend those knees. Inhale to rise up, nice and slow. Reach, 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 reach. Bringing the palms together. If they don't come together, just allow the palms to face each other. Engage the buttocks as you press forwards with the hips. Little tiny back bend. Lots of back bend, entirely up to you and how your back's feeling. Just feel that lift of the heart up towards the ceiling, and then exhaling, floating your way down. So you can float with the arms out wide, you can have the hands in prayer pose, whatever feels right for you. And then bringing the hands right down in front of the feet, take a big step back into a full plank, or you can come down onto the knees, and the further the knees are away from under the hips, the more challenging your kneeling plank will be. But don't forget, on either plank, we're going to take the weight forward, squeeze the upper arms in so the elbows are squeezing together, and then start to lower down. So the elbows want to be facing towards the back of your mat. From here, inhale and start to lift up through the chest. Finding your upward facing dog. If upward facing dog's a bit too much, drop the elbows down and find a little cobra back bend instead, sphinx back bend instead. Okay, from there, either press back through tabletop and then lift up into your down dog. So we're going to work into some plank dog rolls here. So it gets the synovial fluid moving between the vertebrae, and it's a nice little, as I said, ripple and roll, I like to think of it. If you've not done one of these before, it's from a down dog. Settle yourself in dog to start off with, and we're going to come up onto the toes on the breath in, and we're going to roll our way forwards. As we come forwards with the shoulders over the wrists, we're going to drop the knees down, and then start to send the hips towards the back of the ribs. We're going to go nice and slow, and then you can rest in between if you need to. Really rolling, squeezing the belly as you come forward. So it's a bit of a core workout as well, this one. Think about relaxing through the shoulders as much as you can, but keep squeezing those elbows and upper arms in to face each other. One more. Well done. Finish off in downward facing dog, and then take a little lift of that right foot. Doesn't have to be a high lift. I'm going to stretch up, and then we're going to bring the knee towards the chest on the inhale, and pop the right foot somewhere between the hands, okay? So it's in line with the right hip. Now you've got the option of keeping that back knee lifted. I would drop it down a little bit because it's chill session after all. Alright, so optional baby back bend here, so we sweep the arms up. So you can stay in that nice strong position through the core with the arms lifted. Or if you want to, start to think about pressing down into the hips and lifting up the gaze. Shoulders release away from the ears, and you might feel a little bit wobbly. Try to maintain that steady gaze, that balance in your kneeling lunge. So palms are facing inwards, really floating up with the heart towards the ceiling. If you're feeling super balanced, have a little play with closing the eyes. Just notice as soon as that happens, how much you start to wobble. Try to keep bringing the hips down a little bit deeper with each breath out. So right, nice little stretch into the front of your left hip, the hip flexor. Restore lots of tension in the hips, so it's nice to create a bit of space there. One more breath, inhale. And exhale, releasing the hands back down, tuck the back toes, and see if you can stretch back into your full plank or your kneeling plank. And from there you can either press back into your down dog, or you can come down into a low plank first, and then a little up dog, and then back through table, and tuck in the toes, lift the sit bones into down dog. So you can stay in table if you want. We're going to take the left side this time, so squeezing and reaching with the left leg, inhale, driving the knee towards the chest, so really working the abs there and floating the left foot if you can. Doesn't matter if it takes you 1, 2, 3 steps, drop down onto the back knee. If you want more challenge, that's fine, just keep the back knee lifted. So working down into the hips here. If you find that lifting the arms feels like too much, just keep the hands planted. You can tent the fingers and just allow yourself to sink down through the hips. If you're happy to squeeze and lift, let's float up. So gaze coming towards the front of your space. If you're feeling a bit wobbly, maybe lifting up through the gaze there, maybe closing the eyes. There's always somewhere else to go with a pose. There's lots of variations of things. So find one that works for you.
That's one of the many things I love about yoga.
Exactly. So you might be able to feel that we're toning up the thighs here, working the hips and the butt. Finding a bit of space through the belly, through the chest, through the shoulders. Good. 2 more breaths. Lovely job. Okay, one more inhale. Exhale, let the gaze and the fingers slowly move down, no rush. Taking the hands back down, tucking the back toes, and stepping back into your down dog. Give yourself a little pedal out, a little wiggle around, and then moving forwards, allowing the toes to come forwards towards the front edge of the mat. So just walking forwards. I'm going to have a little play with a standing back bend here. So let's roll up nice and slowly through the spine. Let the head drop. Hang down with the arms, hang down with the head, and then slowly, wherever your hands get to, it doesn't matter, just working into that squeeze of the back body. So engage the glutes, engage the lower back as we start to roll all the way up through the spine. So we're wanting to make sure that the chin is the last thing to lift. Coming all the way back up. And releasing from there. Well done. So we've got options here with our standing back bend. If you feel like you need a little bit of extra support, you can pop the hands into that lower back space. You can bring the pinkies to touch and squeeze the elbows in. That's going to give you a bit of lumbar support there. If you feel quite open, you want to have a go at bringing the thumbs together and the fingertips up towards the ceiling, that's fine. Or if you want to release completely and take the hands into a prayer above your head, then that's another option as well. So working wherever you want to be into your back bend. Make sure that you feel the waist even between the feet. Looking forward to start off with inhale. Exhale, engage the glutes, engage the back body. Start to roll backwards through the vertebra. Let the gaze travel to wherever it is that it gets to. If you do this against a wall as well, if you're feeling particularly wobbly, it's quite nice to take the hands behind the head onto a wall. It's a good way of working up towards a wheel pose as well. So using the wall as a support there can be quite good. Like Chris has just demonstrated.
That's really nice, that one.
Yeah, so you can press away with the arms, you get that length through the arms as well. And for wheel particularly, it's about sort of strengthening up the shoulders.
Juicy.
Juicy,
Probably went a
exactly.
bit too much.
Feel free to inhale, coming all the way up, and then from there we're going to start to roll all the way back down again. So I want you to think about how we're moving through the spine here, how we're really working into different areas of the spine, bending forwards, backwards, and in a minute we're going to be twisting as well. So the spine is obviously quite integral into most movements, and never has that been heightened to me as when I have injured my back in times gone by, because you just know it's everything. It's breathing, it's everything. So you really got to look after that spine of ours. Rolling down, all the way down. Again, finding a little bit of length through the backs of the legs. Just having a lift of one heel and then the other. Just stretching out. I'm going to have a play around with scorpion pose now. And a nice twisted lunge. Perfect. Okay, planting down through the hands. Take a step back, one foot, and then the other. And stretch back into your down dog. So we're going to work into scorpion. So we're going to plant through the left foot. We're going to inhale up with the right leg, and then we're going to roll over, so we're stacking the right hip on top of the left. Now if this feels like too much, I want you to take this from table instead. So hands underneath shoulders, and you're just going to simply roll over with that back leg. Okay, you won't be able to come as far due to having that left knee down, but you will get that same sensation of opening up through the hip. So you want to let the right foot tumble down towards the floor, but by the same count, you don't want to let the weight travel over towards the left-hand side of your mat. Keep the arms even if you can. So just give me another couple of breaths here, and I'm going to take some slow knee drives. Well, optional, you don't have to. Okay, on the next breath in, have a little play around. See if you want to bring that right knee forwards, and see if you can touch the left elbow.
Knee drives in, chill.
Nice slow ones though. Exhale, open out. And another one. Squeeze it in. Nice work. Alright, one more. You've got this. You can always drop into child's pose and have a rest. It's fine. Release. And squeeze. Really taking the weight forwards, building up some shoulder strength there. And then this one, we're going to extend the right leg high, looking forwards. We're going to get that right knee to drive towards the chest again and pop it down between the legs. So again, from here we're going to take a twisted lunge. So option to have the back knee lifted, option to have that left knee down. Toes tucked, untucked, entirely up to you. Left hand plants on the inside of the right foot, so you've got the right ankle underneath the right knee. And then we're going to take an inhale and open out into that twist. So as I said, think about what the spine's doing here. Think about all those interconnecting vertebrae, allowing it to stay nice and flexible and mobile rather than seizing up and fusing over time. Keeping things nice and mobile. You want to take the right hand onto the inner right thigh. You can roll onto the outside edge of the right foot. And think about lifting the heart up towards the ceiling. That'll give you the sensation of rolling a little bit further. Bringing this right shoulder into the space behind us. Feeling that into the hip hopefully as well for 3, 2, and 1. Taking the gaze down, rolling your way back through centre. Planting the hand, tucking the left toes and stepping back, finding your down dog. Readjust the hands and feet as you need to, and let's take those knee drives on the other side. Press through the right foot, inhale up with the left leg. Exhale, drop the heel towards the bum and really roll that left hip over without rolling onto the right side. Remember, if you're taking this from table, bring the right knee down and open out with the left hip there. So knee drives when you're ready. Let's go. Inhale. Exhale, left knee floats to the right elbow. Open out on the breath out. Inhale, drive forwards. Remember, you can rest or hold this pose if you want. 1 more, release. Exhale, drive forwards, well done, bit of ab work there on the obliques as well. And then extending the left leg into the air. Inhale, look forwards, drive the left knee forwards, popping it between the hands. Drop down onto the back knee, let's take that twist. Inhale, left arm floats up. Maybe bringing the left hand onto the inside of the left thigh, if that floats your boat.
It does.
It does, good. Dropping the hips down a little bit more if you can, so think about the hips too. Really focusing on releasing any emotion or tension that we like to store in the hips. I'm sure emotions are quite high at the moment. 1 more breath here, inhale. And exhale, releasing down. Good, tuck the back toe, shoot the left foot back. And exhale, back to your down dog. You can always come through table if that's too much of a transition for you. Take the gaze forward and start to creep the toes towards the fingertips. Well done. Bend the knees, inhale to rise, reach up tall. Exhale, let those shoulders melt down the back as the elbows come down towards the ground. And we're going to take a nice little mountain pose. It's going to be a twisted mountain pose. A traditional mountain pose in this strong pose here, so just stood up nice and tall. We're going to take a slightly different one. We're going to take a little twist. So I want you to take your left leg in front of your right. From there, we're going to shoot the left arm out in front of you and the right arm out behind. Okay, so you can look towards your front left hand. Both arms want to be at shoulder height. We can start to take the gaze over towards the right hand side of your space, and then maybe continue, so you're looking to your back hand. That'll give you opportunity to check whether the arm is lifted. You need to feel strong by lifting up the arms through the shoulders. I don't want you to hunch the shoulders up next to the ears. And by having the legs crossed, you might feel a little bit more unsteady than you would in your normal strong mountain pose. That's okay, it's good to challenge yourself and test the balance. 1 more breath, inhale, and exhale, releasing the right hand back to the front. From there, we're going to release the hands to the heart centre. We're going to roll down, keep the legs where they are, finding a forward fold. So if your forward fold is up here, fine, absolutely. Okay, if you want to find a small dog, cat, whatever, and rest your hands on it, that's fine. So just as with any forward fold, we're going to be using this head of ours as our counterweight. So let it roll down, tucking the chin towards the chest as we stretch here into our twisted forward fold. So same principles apply. When you think about the sit bones elevating towards the ceiling as the crown of the head melts down towards the floor. So if your hands don't come to the floor, that's fine. You can keep them in prayer. You can always wrap them around the lower back. You can take a hold of the forearms. Anything really, just as long as we're finding a bit of upside down time. Taking another full breath in and out. Okay, on the next breath in, we're going to have a little roll back up, so chin to chest, Maybe you start to wobble a little bit, try and resist that wobble as we slowly release all the way back up and get ready to go on our second side. So, unravelling the left leg, plant down through the toes, make sure you feel connected through that left foot and take the right foot across. That's it. Taking the right arm out in front and the left arm out behind. So currently the hips are facing forward. So if the hips are facing one way, we're aiming to turn around. We really have to work hard through the waist, through the torso to find that extra mobility. So we take a breath in and then we slowly start to move and find a bit more twist. So imagine you're pressing the back of this left hand towards the right hand side of your mat as you bring the palm of your right hand forwards a little bit. So keeping them both at shoulder height. Remember, you can take the gaze, if it feels okay, to that back hand. Keep breathing into the lungs and lifting up through the chest, dropping the shoulders down the back. One more breath in. And exhaling, coming all the way back through centre. From there, if you want to release the hands to the heart and slowly start to tuck the chin to the chest and roll down. So pressing the sit bones away to start off with, really feeling into the left leg now, the back leg. And then starting to release the head down. Again, don't worry about touching the floor, touching legs, doesn't matter, just wherever you feel comfortable, just catch the elbows in the hands. Doesn't matter how far you get. There's a quote that goes around in the yoga world saying yoga's not about touching your toes, it's about what you learn on the way down. So learn this, you don't have to be able to touch your toes. Head nice and heavy, find that space,
Always get someone to help you with your socks.
You can. One more breath here, inhale. And exhale. Well done, rolling up through the spine, inhale. Chin staying on the chest until the very last. And releasing, well done, stepping back, give your little leggies a shake. And then looking for that inhale from there, rising up with the fingertips. And exhaling, down we go again, except this time you can have lots of knee bend if you like. Planting the hands down, we're going to step on back into our down dog once more. We're going to take a little down dog flow. Okay, so we're going to take an inhale of the right foot into the air. Exhale, bring the right foot forwards between the hands. Now I want you to feel that long staggered step. We're going to work into a modified warrior three. So hands are down on the ground, and if you need to bend that knee a bit more to get the hands down, that's fine. So we're going to take an inhale and float up, lifting that back leg. So we're going to lift up with the heel, hips are square to the floor, both hands can stay on the floor, that's fine. We want the chest parallel to the floor, so it's just like we're in a normal warrior three, except we're really focusing less on the balance and more on the strength through the back body. Okay, inhale here, and then exhale, float your left foot back down. We're going to do that twice more. So bend the back knee, inhale, float up. It's a little bit about catching the balance as we lift up. If you are happy here, you can take the hands to the heart centre. There's no bother if you want to take it a bit more challenging. Exhale, release the back foot back down. So you can drop the hips a little bit and feel into that back hip. When you're ready, inhale, float up. Well done. And exhale back down. Okay, so this time we're going to work into a standing split. It sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But it's your variation of standing split. Inhale, float up. And then start to see if you can seesaw forwards. Bringing the crown of the head down a little bit. Okay, nobody's asking you to get your nose on your knee or anything horrific like that. Okay, kicking up as high as you can. So that top lifted leg is your seesaw. And the head is the other end of the seesaw. So we're just finding a nice release down there. Let no tension be held at all in the back of the neck. If you're feeling quite balanced, you can play around with taking the hands around your right ankle. There's absolutely no pressure to do so at all. You can always take one hand to the floor, one hand around the back of the leg, and you can use that bound hand if you want to start to allow yourself to draw in a little bit deeper. But you know, this is chill, so if you want to take it a bit easier, that's cool. All right, inhale And exhale, left foot comes to meet the right foot. Bend the knees lots on this one. All right, ready on the other side. Inhale, float up to the right leg. So we're in that modified warrior 3 position. Find length through the spine. So make sure you're not rounding through the spine. I want you to think about the chest being parallel to the floor and the shoulders releasing down the back. So they're really switched on through the back body. Inhale. Exhale, drop the right foot to the back of the mat. And again, inhale, lift. Kick up, hold. Maybe have a play with releasing the fingers off the mat for a few seconds. Exhale, release back down. Nice soft landing if you can. One more. Inhale, so building up lots of leg strength in this standing leg. Just remember, if you want, you can take the hands to the heart centre. Find your full warrior 3. No problem if you don't want to. Okay, exhale, release back down. Final one, we're going to extend into standing splits. Let's go. Inhale, lift up. So the hands want to be nice and close to your standing foot on this one. Exhale, release down with the head. Dropping the head down, kicking up as high as you dare with the right toes. So it's all about finding that concentration to work on this balance. It is a really testing pose for the balance. And it really doesn't matter how high up that back foot is. Okay, it's how you feel this pose which matters. One more breath, inhale. And exhale. Release the back foot, the right foot down, step back with the left foot. Well done. Drop to tabletop or into down dog. Have a pedal out, have a rest, take a child's pose. We are going to be working into pigeon pose next.
Yummy.
Yummy, yummy. So if you're down on the knees in tabletop, take an inhale and lift up to dog. Meet us here. Spread out those fingers and let's think about moving into our lovely hip opening section. Inhale, right leg high. Looking forwards, bring the right knee behind the right wrist. See if you can flex your front foot. Okay, so we're taking the weight forwards initially and then we start to extend that left leg behind. Now I know a lot of people who do the chill session, they're not particularly comfortable with pigeon pose. So turn it into an animal pose or a Z stretch instead. So you can bend both knees, okay? Either way, we inhale to lift and then we exhale, maybe start to lean forward. You can stay up high, it's totally up to you. If you feel like this is enough challenge through your hips, absolutely stay here. What we're trying to avoid, if both pigeon and animal, is leaning over to one side. I want you to feel even through the hips. If you want to fall forwards, that's cool. If you've got a cushion or brick of some description and you're able to rest your forehead on it, that can offer support through the back of the neck. So really focusing on breathing into the hips. As I mentioned in the flex class earlier, really the challenge of this pose allows us to deal with other uncomfortable situations, which we're possibly all going through at the moment. So using the challenge of this position and any of the other positions that we do in yoga to learn from, allowing our minds to develop and not stress out as much about situations if we can. It's how we can focus on controlling our thought processes through the poses. So it's not just about the physical poses all the time. So allow the weight to be central, allow the spine to be long. If you find that this is quite a juicy stretch for you into the hips, if your hip flexors are quite tight, just give yourself a good few breaths here to release and see if you can soften into your pigeon. Make sure we're not holding any tension into the face, particularly the jawline. People without realising it can grind their teeth. Just so you've got enough space between the shoulder blades. Check you're not squeezing onto the left butt cheek. This one's for you, Sue Stanley. We know how you like a bit of pigeon. Two more breaths from here. Then we're going to take another little twist and some seated poses. On the next breath in, just pressing into the forearms or into the hands, just to lift yourself up a little bit, dropping onto your right side, and then sweeping around with the left leg, so it comes, well, you can have it in line with the hip, or you can have it out to the side, it really doesn't matter. Taking a tree leg, sole of the right foot into the left thigh, taking a closed twist. So we're going to take the left arm over to the right, so coming across the body, sweeping the right arm all the way around behind you. And if you can, bring the heel of the hand right next to your buttocks so that you're not taking this sort of position where you're leaning back, okay? You want your spine to be stacked one on top of the other. So lifting up and then exhaling, nice and slow. Just enjoying that journey around. Keeping the eyes closed perhaps. Using the full exhalation to make as much progress as you can. So a nice passive stretch going on through the hips, as well as that lovely spinal twist, which is great for your digestion. One more breath, inhale. And exhale, coming all the way back round through centre. So we're going to take a little slide out here with the left hand, just on the inside of your left thigh. Now if this doesn't work for you, we're going to take a reach up and over with the right arm. You can always grab a brick or something, or you can maybe even use your thigh and taking the fingertips to the temples and using that as a bit of a rest if you find this one I'm going to demonstrate a bit more. A bit too much. So sliding the left fingertips towards the left heel, really focusing on opening up through this right shoulder as we stretch up and over. And you can just keep the gaze coming forwards. You can rest the eyes closed. So you're aiming to bring the right fingertips towards your left toes. Duncan does this pose beautifully. He really floats into this nicely. I'm a million miles away, but I'm alright with that. Full breaths in, fantastic stretch all the way up the torso. If you've been doing a lot of work from home and sat at a desk over time, if you do sit down for long periods of time, for months, years, you're starting to shorten the muscles down the side body. So it's really important that we fully stretch out here. Big full breaths.
I think that's one of the things I love. Another thing I love about yoga is where it lengthens your muscles, not like box them up to make some knotty. I think it gives a beautiful muscle life.
One more breath. Really allow yourself to sink down with the exhale. And on your final inhalation, come all the way back up. And this time I'm going to take a turn over towards that extended leg. So if you need to readjust slightly, I want your torso to be extending towards the left thigh. If you've got a strap or a tea towel or anything like that, or just bend the leg as much as you need to take a forward fold. So think about this movement coming from the hips. So we're looking to decrease this angle at the hips. So finding sit bones down, so we're not looking to lift the sit bones. Inhaling, long tall spine, flexing that left foot, and then exhaling to start to move to decrease that angle at the hip. So I still want to be moving forwards with the chest towards the toes. So I'm not looking to drop my head down just yet. Want to find length through the leg, length through the spine is what we're aiming for. And then over time you can start to release down to wherever you get to. And as we said, you can use the strap to help you with this. If you're really flexible and you're finding that that's not a challenge, if you can roll up a blanket or cushion and you can pop the block at the other end and extend your leg a little bit so you can reach a bit further. That's it. One more breath. What time are we on? Good, eh?
9 minutes, 20 seconds.
Inhale to rise up. Lovely job. And then crossing this extended leg in front, so you've got your left in front of your right. I'm just going to have a play around with lifting the sit bones off the floor. If you can take a half lotus or a lotus, finding that bind through the legs will really help you get the feet off the floor. My hips are not feeling that today, so I'm just going to plant down through the hands right next to the butt if you can. Take that internal squeeze and lift, okay? Inhale. You can draw the knees up towards the chest a little bit if you can, but we're taking that lift up of the butt off the floor. That's it. So squeezing and lifting just for 3, 2, 1. Good, well done. All right, let's swap it over. So we're working into pigeon. If you can roll forwards taking pigeon, we're going to have the left leg in front and the right leg out behind. If you want to come back through down dog, that's fine. Head into down dog. So remember, you've got options. If you don't want to take full pigeon pose, you've got the option of taking a Z stretch or animal pose with the back leg. Okay, so rolling over your front shin, so you can flex the left foot, take the left knee out towards the left side of the mat, find that evenness to the hips and soften in from there. Same point as before, using the block as a, you can actually, one thing I didn't say, you can use the towel or a block underneath your left hip. If you do feel like you're rolling onto that side, that can bolster you and keep you central. Or dropping the forehead onto the brick. You can let the arms hang loose, you can take a reverse prayer, bring the hands together at the back of the neck, whatever you feel is going to work for you this evening in your pigeon pose. For another 3, 2, and for 1, good, roll on up. Well done, drop onto your left side this time. Sweep around with the right leg. So you can extend it wide, you can have it out in front of you. It's totally up to you. Taking a seated spinal twist. If you find it difficult and you want to create a bit more space, sit on a cushion and sit on a brick. That'll give you a bit more room to twist as well. So taking the right hand onto the left knee, popping the left hand down behind you, sit up nice and tall, and then when you feel like you've got that really elongated spine, then start to take that rotation around. And it doesn't matter if you're looking to the side or directly over that back shoulder or somewhere right behind you. It really doesn't matter. Nice full breath in for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release back through centre. Well done. So options as before. You can stay sat on that brick if you want to. We're going to slide the right hand on the inside of the right leg, making sure we're bringing the toes up towards the ceiling, reaching up and over with the left hand this time, or taking fingertips to temples and using the right leg as a bit of a bolster, bringing the right elbow down. You're still feeling that really nice stretch all the way down the left side of the body. You might feel a little pinch around the right side as well. So aiming to draw the left shoulder back behind you a little bit, so you can see underneath almost the left arm whilst reaching forwards. Really great stretch for the side and lower back. Really try and release the shoulders away from ears and find that breath. For 3, 2, 1, inhale, slowly rise back up, and let's take that twist. So turning the torso to face the right leg, bricks, straps, tea towels, whatever you've got, taking that extension. Inhale, think about the decrease of the angle at the hips as you send the sit bones back and away. Okay, lots of knee bend if you need it. Again, you can sit on something if that helps you. Find that extension. You have your hands on the floor. As I said, you can have the hands around something at the end of your foot if you're quite flexible in the hamstring and lower back space. Slowly releasing down, heart towards the toes. Maybe then allowing the forehead to melt down towards the leg, but only if you're feeling it. 1 more breath, inhale. And exhale. Inhale to rise up. And 1 little play around with that lift, bringing the right foot in front of the left. If you've got short arms, T-Rex syndrome we call it, you can always pop your hands on cushions or bricks. Let's go. Inhale, squeeze in through the insides, lift up that pelvic floor, just hover and hold, bit of a tricep workout. 3, 2, 1, release down. Fantastic, well done. So if you have got something to allow yourself a bit of an inversion, we're going to unfill those legs and roll down onto our back. We're going to just time for a quick inversion before we head into Shavasana. So I'm going to give you a few options here. We can take dead dog, where we take legs into the air, arms into the air. That allows you to connect with the lumbar spine into the floor. Shoulders are heavy, whole of the back is connected, and we get that wonderful draining away sensation through the limbs. You can always pop that cushion underneath the hips, or your brick, or whatever is to hand, small child, anything like that. That just allows the tilt of the body and the heart to travel back down, the blood to travel back down to the heart with a bit more ease. If you want to take a shoulder stand, then you've got that in your practice. Make sure you're only looking at your own toes as you roll up. So we're looking to lift out of that basket that you created with the hands, taking the toes up towards the ceiling. Alternative to that, we bring the knees down onto the forehead, toes point towards the ceiling as you release into candlestick. Or you can allow the legs to open and melt the knees down towards the ears, coming into deaf man's pose. So there's a few variations from there, and you can stay there for a few more breaths. Or if you're happy to release into your Shavasana, you can head there now. Allowing the body to settle into your semi-inversion. Taking a moment here. Letting the lymph system drain away. One more breath. And then whichever position you're in, I want you to see how much control you can release down to the floor. Releasing one vertebra of the spine at a time. Giving yourself a few circles through the hips. Maybe a release, windscreen wiper through the legs. And then rolling out into Shavasana. Any final resting pose that you enjoy. You could keep the cushion underneath the hips if you like, or underneath the back of the head. You've got your more traditional corpse pose, or you might find that bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees drop out and finding a variation of reclined butterfly might be nice. Just giving yourself this opportunity to relax even further, letting the mind be clear, giving yourself a bit of space in the brain. So you don't have to analyse your performance, you don't have to overthink anything. We're trying to do the exact opposite. We're trying to really find space in the body and space in the mind. Letting all of the muscles be soft and content in the position that you're in. And the mind to be free and also content with the space that you're in. Taking one more breath. Fill up those lungs. And then release. Then you can roll onto either side, whichever your preference is. And then making your way, when you're ready, up from there. You can always stay there a little bit longer if you like. I'm going to come up to seated though. And just find a nice tall spine and take one big breath together from here. Inhale, rise up with the arms. Exhale, palms come together as we release the thumbs to the breastbone. Well done everyone. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. I'll see you all again soon. Take care folks.
I'm just going to jump on here now, and the purpose of this is going to be twofold. One is to tell you guys about what we're doing this weekend, and the other one is to record me telling you guys what we're doing this weekend so I can send it out to you as an email and put it as its own little clip. So I can either sit on you, wife, or I'd like to stand there because that's the way I'm going to shoot. But that would
I think you should
itself.
I think you should sit on me. That's how I move. If it's for your
Could be a
clip,
bit awkward, couldn't it?
if it's for your clip, I don't want to
You
ruin your
don't want-
moments.
You don't want
Your
me
moments on the mat. Go on.
You don't want me massaging you in public. Hello, I'm Chris from Rise Yoga in Sheffield. I'd just like to tell you about two events that we've got this weekend. So this is the 18th and 19th, if I'm looking down here, looking for prompts from my wife, 18th and 19th of April. Should know that because it's our daughter's birthday on the 18th. So what we're going to do on the 18th, we're doing our two signature classes, power at 9:30 in the morning, and at 10:30 we're going to be doing flex, but it's not going to be normal. Well, it's virtual. What is normal nowadays? But we are going to be dressing as superheroes, and we are asking you for a bit of cosplay as well. Get your superhero costumes on. If you haven't got a superhero costume and you're adult, have a little think about life. Borrow a superhero costume, or even just tuck a tea towel round your neck. That can be your cape, because we are going to be doing it as superheroes, as for gratitude, recognition, and thanks to our key workers and NHS workers, not just here in the UK, but all over the world. And it's £5 to do the class, and that money will be going to Sheffield Children's Hospital, COVID-19 appeal. So it's heroes for heroes. Get dressed up on Saturday morning, 9:30, 10:30. If you go to our website, rise.co.uk/heroes, number 4 heroes, you will find all the information there. So that's one event. The second event I want to tell you about, put a little gap in there in case I'm going to cut it into two. So the second event I'm going to tell you about is our gut health workshop stroke seminar. It's sold out, it's going to be incredible, but then because we're doing it virtually, we can just open up more seats on the Zoom meeting. So it's an hour and a half with Rachel Tate telling us about how your gut and this microbiome is so central to your overall health and immunity and sleep and mood. It really does affect everything. We are 90% non-human bacteria. Everything we tend to do seems to be focusing on that 10% of human, which is understandable, but let's not forget about how that 90% just drives all the rest of your health. Never been more important than it is at the moment, when clearly it's very, very important to be as healthy and as immune as you can. And that's again £5, and it also goes to Sheffield Children's Hospital COVID-19 appeal. So please do join us. Then you've got something to do this weekend as well. We will make it lots of fun. Share with your friends. It'd be great to get loads of people on there. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for practicing with us again. Share with your friends. See you soon. Bye.